long have you known this was going to happen, and were you smiling more the last week or so?
Yeah, these are things we have to do because we want to connect with our supporters.
No, I mean the signing of, let's not bury the lead.
Oh,
here.
that signing.
Yeah.
I thought you meant the signing out there. Oh, that signing. How long have I known for it?
Yeah.
Well, you never know till the dotted line signed, but he was our number one choice, number one. We probably looked at 50 strikers, and you know, Issa and Neil and Tim and Corey probably looked at, you know, 250. You know, so when it gets to me, it's distilled down to the best of the best, and he was our number one guy right off the bat. And things just kind of came together at the right moment. You know, it's always in these type of things when you get a player like him, things have to fall into place. And I wanna say, without the ownership, the Haslams, J.W. Whitney, D, Jimmy, the Edwards families, without their support and commitment, wouldn't happen. It's a big investment. You know, I think that really makes a statement from their end and our end. You know, obviously asking for that type of money because that shows our ambition, their ambition, and I want to thank the ownership for their investment and commitment to this club. And I want to thank Tim Bezpachenko. Obviously, everybody knows he's kind of the genius of the roster and the cap, and I want to thank him for the work he did. Issa Tall, who did a lot behind the scenes, Neil McGinnis, Corey Ray, a lot of people, but really exciting to get a player like him in his prime, 23 years old, Colombian international, and I think he'll continue to get international caps. A very unique signing for us and for the league.
Yeah, for the league, as I asked Bez in the Zoom if, and these guys know better than me, but does this signal a new era when you get a person who's 23 years old about to hit their prime coming to Major League Soccer instead of a 33-year-old? And I know there have been others, better players come here, but this is quite a coup, or no?
Yes, this is a coup. This is a massive signing for this club. Obviously, look at the transfer fee. You know, those are things that I don't decide how much a player's worth, but I think typically strikers are worth their weight in gold. You know, and I think with a guy that has shown he can score goals in La Liga and the Premier League at 23 years old, to be able to get a player like that for our club and in this league is very rare and unique, and the supporters should feel very fortunate, like I do and the players do, to have a player like that come into our club. New era, I don't know if it's a new era. I think it's, you know, for me it's a, you know, every signing is an evolution, and I think it's a new evolution. It's a new face, new striker. Hopefully he's the next player to usher us into ultimately the next trophy. That's really what it's about, is sign a player that can score goals to hopefully lead us to the next trophy. We won 2020 MLS Cup, we won Campeones Cup, but we need that next trophy, and we feel like he's going to help push us a little bit over the edge. It's no secret the last couple of years we've struggled to score goals consistently, and we feel like he will help in spades in that regard.
What is it about his game specifically that made him the number one guy?
His quality, his well-rounded play. You know, in a lot of ways, he's a modern striker. You know, when you look at the iterations of strikers, he is very well-rounded. He can do a little bit of everything. He's technical. He can create goals for himself. He has a nose for the goal in the box. He's quick. He's strong. He's smart. He's got a little bit of everything, you know, and he can play back to goal. He can play facing the goal and run at guys. He can score in different ways with his head. Very good movement. Athletic. He has all the tools to do a little bit of everything. But the most important thing we feel is he's going to score goals, and I think he's shown that against some of the best teams in the world. You know, and he played on a team that was one of the worst teams in the Premier League and didn't have a lot of the ball and still found goals in 11 starts, you know. So we feel like, you know, in our team, the players we have, the chances we create, putting him game in, game out at the number 9, he's gonna find goals, and he's an exciting player, and we really like him as a person as well. I think that's very important. He has passion, he has charisma, he's a competitor. He's one you want to pay to watch. You know, we hope people in Columbus and really everywhere in Ohio will want to come and pay to watch him because, like I said, he's scored against some of the best teams in the world. You know, Arsenal, Man City, Barcelona, Real Madrid, and we feel like he's only going to get better and better. So he's in his prime, and I think putting him with Lucas and some of our other players to support him, giving him service, having a little bit more of the ball, putting him around goal, you're going to see him hopefully take off and have the best years of his career here.
Were there times throughout this process that this guy being at the top, and Bez was talking about you always need kind of a pop of other guys that you need to make sure you can get if you can't get your top 2 or 3 guys who he described as kind of reaches. Was there a point where maybe it didn't look like you were going to sign them and it ultimately flipped? What was it like kind of going through that?
Absolutely. You know, at one point we thought there's no chance. Things kind of fell together at the right moment, you know, and to get a player like him, it does take the perfect storm of events, and it takes the player being passionate about the Columbus Crew and Major League Soccer. It takes the investment of our ownership. It takes him looking for the right fit in his career. You know, he was signed as a young pro, and he's moved a lot of different clubs and had a lot of different coaches, and he really felt like our league, this, you know, seeing some of the players, young players that have come in this league and have flourished, like it was the right place and the right time for him, and we felt like he was the right player at the right time and the right fit for us. So it was a bit of a match made in heaven, and it's certainly the one that I was praying for and hoping for. And yeah, it's at one point we thought, yeah, it's not gonna happen, right? And then Tim worked his magic and deal came together. But he was always the number 1 guy on our list.
Yeah. What did he
Number 1.
express to you as kind of some big reasons that kind of sold him on this place?
Yeah, I think it's easy to sell our league right now, easy.
Yeah.
Because of some of the players that have come in our league and then, you know, developed and moved out of our league or stayed in our league long term and don't want to leave. When you have players, you know, that have cut their teeth in our league and gotten time game in, game out and developed, and then been sold, you know, the likes of an Almarin, those are things that make it easier to sell, and it's not just a league where you come at the end of your career, it's a league where you come at the start of your career or the prime of your career. And it's easy to sell our club as well. The good players we have. I mean, every player we talk to watches our games. They always say the same thing: "We love the way you play. We love the way you play." And it's pretty obvious to see what's kind of that last piece missing. And they all said the same thing: "Yeah, if you stick me in there, we're going to score a lot of goals." You know, so I think the way we play. I think the stadium, the training ground, the community, the players we have. There's just so much to sell. You know, that it wasn't tough really, but it you know, it just still takes the investment. You know, it takes the investment, and it takes a player who wants to come and be a part of something new and different and exciting. And there are other Colombians that have come to this league and done really well. And Rongo's a good example of a number 9 who's done really well. And there's others. You know, I had Diego Chara. You know, and there's a number of others who've just done really well, and I think that helps also, you know, because players talk to players, and they see players, and they talk about the players in Columbus Crew, and they talk about the way we play, and they talk about the atmosphere, talk about our league, and I think right now we have a league where young South Americans can come and develop and flourish.
And a lot of people make probably a big deal about coming to MLS and having to adjust to it, but bring in somebody for the amount that he's come in for, his experience. He's played for 4 different teams in 5 seasons. Do you see that learning curve being much smaller with him being able to come in and make that instant impact that the team needs?
Yeah, kind of a few things that come to mind. The first one is strikers tend to adapt, I think, a little bit quicker because they're kind of lone rangers a little bit, and they play in a way where you just need to put him in spots to score. And in his case, similar to Lucas, he can create for himself as well. So he's not just a box striker that needs the perfect cross or the perfect pass. He will score goals in the box, but he'll also create for himself out of nothing. He can pull off the line. He can dribble guys, so he can create off the dribble. He can create through movement and intelligent, runs behind the line, in between the lines, and movement in the box. He's pretty strong, actually, and pretty good in the air for a guy that's 5'9". He's like I said, similar to some of the guys in our league. I don't want to use comparisons, but in terms of profile, he's similar profile like a Ruidíaz and Josef Martinez. So he's a smaller, strong guy that can score in the box, but also create for himself. And we just like this profile a lot. And you typically see that sometimes these guys in certain leagues and certain teams are, played up top and played wide a little bit. And he's a number 9. We had a conversation with him. He wants to play the 9 game in and game out, and he feels like when he plays the 9 he scores. And he says when he plays wide he doesn't get around goal quite as much. And when you're a goal scorer, you want to be around goal. And he knows he's going to wear the 9 shirt, and he's going to be up top, and he's going to be the guy. And we feel like with the right support around him that we have, that he's going to score a lot of goals, and again, I think have his best years in our league.
And also, you've been league coach for 9 years now, and you've seen a lot of these really strong kind of duos like Almiron and Martinez down in Atlanta when they're first here. Where do you see Zelarayan and Cucho in terms of like the ceiling of those great pairs in MLS history?
Yeah, again, I think for me the play will do the talking, and we don't need to put any titles or expectations on the individual or the pair. I think their play will speak for itself, and like Lucas's play speaks for itself. So we signed Cucho because we felt he would score goals, and so I think his play will speak for itself. And I think certainly the transition to a new team, always new coach, new players, new league. You have to give it time, but I think he's a guy that's going to transition very quickly. And part of that is, again, he's a striker. The other part is he has been in other leagues. So when you see a guy that's already adapted to different situations, not even in just one country, but several countries and several teams, and been able to move, and that's going to help him. And he was in England as well, so he understands English. That's a small part of the equation, but that helps. He's been in a very difficult league, the best league in the world in terms of pace, power, physicality. And when you look at kind of our league and the comparisons, we're an athletic league. We're a league that is pretty physical and requires a lot of fitness and work rate. And when you look at the Premier League, obviously that's a very physical league. It's a very athletic league. It's a very fast league. So sometimes you could get a player from a league that's technical, tactical, but he's come from the Premier League, which is the fastest league in the world. So he's adapted to that type of play, and there won't be a transition in that regard. So we love the conversations we have with him. He's a good guy, good person, passionate. And of course, he has a tattoo on his neck.
So glad you said that.
Last question for me. For Jonah's back out there, is he cleared now, ready to go? Mensah,
Yeah, Jonah. So obviously he had a concussion.
Yeah.
With that head injury, and we wanted to be smart and careful. And up until Saturday, he had stitches and hadn't headed a ball, and hadn't really done much of anything for 10 days because of the concussion. So he just wasn't available last game, unfortunately. But we hope and think that he will be available this week.
We talked a few weeks ago. I asked you about getting a guy that fits with the team. You mentioned Lucas, but overall, why is he a guy that fits with the attacking players you guys have?
Yeah, I mean, great question, because again, going back to profile, we've looked at so many different types of number 9s, and you have a wide range of profiles. You have obviously your big targets that aren't quite as mobile, that are very good in the air and very good in the box, and in a direct style of play, do well. You have guys that are more stretching players, more athletic, really fast, but maybe not as technical. You have that profile. Then you have guys that are more like second forwards, or almost you'd say like a false 9 type, who are good between the lines and underneath, but probably can't back to goal give you what you need. And we just feel like, honestly, he's a guy that's well-rounded in everything. He's good back to goal. He's strong. If you need to throw the ball up to him, actually, he's pretty good in the air. I mean, we're not going to play super direct through him. Obviously, that would make sense. But it's not like he's going to struggle when he has to play in the air. He's strong. He's a good jumper. But his strength is more in his technical ability, his ability to create in the box with his movement, his finishing, and off the dribble. So at the end of the day, we just thought this guy's very well-rounded. He can do a little bit of everything, which is why we feel like he's a good fit. He can play in a 1 front, a 2 front. We're not planning to play him wide. We're planning to play up top at a 1 front or a 2 front.
Bez said he told him that he wanted to be the face of the club and lead the league in goals. To have a guy come here and say that when a team 2 years removed from MLS Cup, you've got guys like Lucas and Darlington already here. I mean, and you as a coach, I assume that's something you want to hear, right? A guy that wants to come in and just dominate that way.
Yeah, I think for me, we're going to have a lot of faces in this club, but you want all the players to say they want to be the guy. You really want 11 guys that want to be the guy. If you're a defender, you want to be the guy. And I think we have a handful of guys on this team that have that quality. And I think if you ask Jonah, he would probably not tell you he wants to be the guy, but he knows he's the guy, right? And Darlington wouldn't say that either, but Darlington knows his level as a midfielder. Lucas would tell you that. And that's what we want. And especially out of attackers, that's what you need. You need a guy that wants to be the guy to score the goal to win the game. If you want to know what we were missing at the end of the last game, it's a guy that was going to carry the team on our back to find that goal, to make the play, and have that belief to find the goal to go 2-1 and win the game. And that's what we've been lacking. I think there've been guys that have at times have shown that. Obviously, when Lucas he always wants to be that guy to score the goal to win the game. Darlington can be that at times. Kevin Molino's shown that at times. Eric Hurtado has shown, but it's got to be game in, game out. Every game, 34 games, 90-plus minutes. That's what Ruidíaz does. There's never a question. Who thinks he's going to score the goal? Never a question with Joseph Martinez. And I don't think there'd be a question with Cucho. I think he's going to believe every game that he's going to score. Now, will he score every game? No. But if he doesn't score, then he's going to want to score the next game, and he's not going to lose belief. He's going to have even a little bit more motivation and hunger and edge to score the next game. And that's what a true goal scorer brings. In some ways, it's a position where you're never happy unless you score, and that's what the best goal scorers have. And I think, we really have not had that type of mentality, consistently, other than Lucas.
Obviously, you got 3 games before he can play, but you still have Miguel, you still have Eric on the roster even once he gets out there. What do you want to see from them going forward? What do you kind of envision as their roles as it shifts to more of a reserve situation with
Yeah, well, I think again, I always believe this. You got to look to the next week and the next game. And at the end of the day, we're all excited about Cucho coming, but like we have the next game, and in this week we have 3 games in 9 days, and he's not going to be here to play in those games. He's not capable of playing those games. So I think right now the mindset for those guys is to do their job, because they're paid to do their job, and their job is to, when their name's called, to perform well and to score goals. And very pleased with Eric taking his chances. And Miguel, I still believe, has the ability. He showed it last year. But it's up to him, and it's really up to the person. Everybody wants to, make it, it's not up to me. It's up to them. They take the opportunity. And I think at the end of the day, we'll see where it goes from here. But we've got 3 more games right now to take care of. And I think in a lot of ways, if there's any motivation, it's pretty easy for them, because they want to make sure that obviously they continue to be a guy that we call their name, and in every position you need guys that are ready to step in, and so I think the motivation's still very high for those 2 guys, and they get it. They're team guys. Eric's been around the block, and Miguel, as you know, right, he was not close the first year, second year started to get closer, and then now he's going through a little bit that, okay, I lost my job, now what do I do? And then I get it back the next game, and that's a constant process for a professional soccer player, and you got to get used to that. There's always someone to take your job, always, and that's healthy. And by the way, if you play well enough, you won't lose your job.
Good. Thanks, Caleb.
Thanks, guys. Take care.